Hello, this is Mike Lively, and this is Chapter 2 of Getting Started with Papervision3D. We'll be working through Chapter 2. The book is now on Amazon, so go ahead and purchase it as we go through the book. And we're actually going to be updating the book as we go through the chapters. Just real quick here before we get started, I have an assignment for you. And what I want you to do is, first of all, go ahead and download the SVN that you're going to use for your particular system. Now, for Windows, I highly suggest that you use Tortoise. I mean, it is the best SVN system that I've seen so far. And I just love it, and I'm spoiled by it. Here's their website right here. Go ahead and just click and download and go through the installation. It's pretty good. And that'll enable you to download the various SVN packages. Now, if you're on a Mac machine, it's kind of a toss-up. In the book itself, I do give a reference that you can download, but I was never really happy with the different SVN clients that I got from for the Mac. Now, this book was developed in both with a Windows machine and a Mac machine, so everything works for both machines. But the SVN was just so beautiful with Windows that I was just so spoiled with it. So, do your best and play around with it. I just never did find a good version. If you find a good version that you like, just email me and let me know about it. I'd love to see it. Once you have your SVN download, of course, you want to go and get Papervision. And I want you to specifically use the Flash 10 version right here. So if you go to that site, so if you step down through the branches, you look at the trunk right here, SVN trunk branches, you'll find the Flash Player 10 version. That's actually what we're going to be using. And once you download that, that's going to be a version you're going to be working with. But we're going to start changing that version, so I'll be giving you the changed versions on my Google code. And so you're going to stick with that. You won't be able to go back and use the Flash 10 Player version again, because our version will be more up to date and incorporating Adobe's newest changes. Okay, let's get out of that. We will be moving on and using an enhanced data version, and so you're going to see I'm going to be using a lot Flex's new Flash Builder. Flash Builder Premium finally came out, hooray! And it's a great version of software, and it has that data wizard. And that data wizard allows you to basically access data very rapidly and build all that auto-generated code. And so what might take you a few days to do, you can just do it in 5 minutes with a few clicks and drags and auto-binding. The reason why we're using Flash Builder is specifically because of this data wizard. And go ahead and go to adobe.com and download both a Flash Builder Premium and CS5 Flash, which we'll be using. And of course, Flash Builder Premium now has the ability to bring those CS5 Flash components directly into Flash Builder, so that's cool as well. Surprise, we want you to go ahead and download away3d.com, and we'll be specifically looking at Away3D Lite. Away3D has done a tremendous job of incorporating some of the newest Flash geometry mathematics into their program, specifically in Away3D Lite. And we'll be looking at that in detail and showing you how to bring those applications up, and also how to enhance Away3D a little bit, and then we'll show you how to bring Away3D components into Papervision, and also Papervision into Away3D components. So you'll be learning both Papervision and Away3D as we move through, but I got more. I also want you to go ahead and download the Unreal Engine. So if you're familiar with the UDK, it's free for developers. And let me bring that site up real quick. This is a full 3D gaming environment using the Unreal 3D engine. And it's been used for many games. And there's a lot of 3D simulation involved in it. And you'll be going through this package as well. And you'll be essentially building a version of Papervision that's very similar to this, but using some data visualization techniques that are going to allow us, in a sense, to kick out the back-end guy and get some more front-end stuff going a little faster than it does in Papervision presently. So go ahead and download that Unreal 3D engine. Also, I want you to download the Physics Accelerator. Basically, when you download the engine and install it, it'll ask you if you want the Physics Accelerator. Go ahead and accept that, and you'll have both packages, and we'll be working through that as we work through the book as well. And the last thing I want you to do in this assignment is take a look at kshunter.wordpress.com. This is a crazy book, and everyone needs to write a crazy book in their lifetime. But it really is about data visualization. So when you go through that book, you're going to go, what is the heck is this guy talking about? And this is really weird and might even sound metaphysical. But as we move on, we'll be using some of these techniques and data compression, basically to get some data visualization going on. It'll enable us to write a more efficient Papervision and accelerate some of its processes. So let's go ahead and take a little look at Chapter 2. This is your assignment. Get to it. A lot of good downloads here. We've got a lot more to give you. But go ahead and download those and start playing around with some of this software. And this is going to be a very exciting series. So in Chapter 2, we start talking about diving into 3D and a few terms that you may not be familiar with. And specifically, you want to accomplish the following things in paper vision. You want to be able to work with primitives and materials, and you want to use data visualization from KS Hunter to make that process more efficient. You're going to learn a little bit about 3D mathematics and some hacks involved with that. And we're going to do some 3D modeling. And next time we'll give you some links and show you a little bit about 3ds Max, Blender, and Swift 3D, all great 3D packages for modeling. I just love 3ds Max. And also Photoshop now 3D has some great attributes in it as well. I want to talk a little bit in this section about shapes versus objects and give you a few 3D definitions that we'll be using throughout the book. A vertex pretty much is just a point in space. And it could be 2D or 3D, but if you're doing mathematics, especially when it comes to data visualization, it's in many dimensions, many more than 3 dimensions, multiple dimensions. So vertices basically are, more than one vertex. A line segment is just basically a line between 2 points or 2 vertices. A spline is a combination of vertices. A shape is a 2D element, where an object is a 3D element. And we'll take a look at that in a moment. And an edge is a line connecting 2 vertices in 3D. And a polygon, very important, is a face on an object composed of edges and vertices. And a subobject is the pieces that make up an object. Now, all these definitions are pretty much being taken from 3ds Max. And I have a whole series of tutorials on the web on 3ds Max, and I'll be putting those on the book's website as well. But you want to go ahead and take a look at those. So let's just take a look at some graphical images, see if we can understand some of these concepts. So here's your spline right here, and just basically it's a line in 2D space, kind of a path between points. Actually, a spline could be more than just in 2D space. You could actually go through 3D space, but it's just a line that's connecting a bunch of points. Objects, though, are 3D elements, and they're basically made up of triangles, because triangles are the most efficient way of creating 3D elements. So everything in a 3D can be made up of triangles, and they fit together perfectly. Basically, their areas are different, and their angles are different, but they're all triangles. But very important here that you're not seeing this image, but we'll see later on, is the fact that triangles have a path. So if you study graph theory, you're gonna find out that they actually have a path. They actually have a direction. Now you might wonder, why do triangles need to have a path or a direction they travel in? Because when you have a direction or path, you can draw a normal to that triangle. The reason why a normal to a triangle is so important is because you don't want to basically render triangles that are behind triangles. So when you have that normal right there, you can tell if a triangle is facing away from you. And if it's facing away from you from that normal, you no longer render it. Well, we've got a lot more to go into. This is just an introduction. So thanks for listening. This was Mike Lively.